Hello everyone, I'm Sudhir Chunduri. I work as an assistant computer scientist in the performance engineering team. Today I'll be talking about optimizing MPA performance on Theta. So the outline of my presentation is going to be the Theta is a Cray XC40 machine. So the Cray XC network software stack, I'll introduce that, and then the MPA software stack that sits on top of the network stack is then introduced. Then I'll touch on a few MPA 3.0 standard specific additions such as non-blocking collectives. Then discuss about the topology mapping optimizations. Then the few key performance tuning knobs that one should be aware of for optimizing performance of MPA on Theta will be touched on. Then the MPA plus X, MPA plus OpenMP or hybrid kind of programming for applications, what kind of optimizations that one needs to do. I'll introduce that. Then the MPA support for MCDRAM on KNL. So some KNL specific KNL has this MCDRAM high bandwidth memory. What are the specific optimizations for that will be touched on. Then the Cray XC routing based optimizations, how to take advantage of the routing algorithms for optimizing MPA will be touched on. Then I will talk about the noise mitigations at the node level. So the Cray XC network software stack, it has two different interfaces called the UGNI, generic network interface, that is primarily used as the plot, the figure shows, for message passing based programming models such as MPICH2. And the DMAP is the distributed shared memory application APIs, is primarily used for SHMEM based or PGAS kind of programming models. So these two, UGNI and DMAP, are the low level communication services that are exposed to the user space software for interfacing with the networking hardware. So the MPA software stack that uses this sits on top of the UGNI has this as the software hierarchy. The Cray MPI that is used on Theta is based on primarily on the Argonne MPA-CH software, and the MPA-CH has this the new CH4 model, but the Cray MPA is based on the CH3 device. And as the color coding shows, the Cray specific components are highlighted. For example, like the collectives and the one-sided RMA are optimized specific to the Cray XC network. So the collectives are optimized for the topology-based collective optimizations, and also I/O enhancements are done. And for the shared memory-based collective optimizations are done with XPMM, and there are some GPU support there as well. Then the MPA 3.0 standard has introduced the non-blocking collectives. So the collectives that were there before MPA 3 are like the blocking-based collectives, but similar to how we have non-blocking send receive. MPA 3.0 introduced this non-blocking collectives, so with the primary motive being to overlap the communication and computation. And the non-blocking variants of the collectives have similar to how send receive have MPA I send and I receive. It has MPA broadcast have its non-blocking variant as MPA bcast. So it has this request. So the MPA is, as the name suggests, the non-blocking. So the function returns as soon as it is issued, and the usual completion calls such as wait and test that are available for non-blocking send receive are also available for non-blocking collectives. And out of order, the ordering is not guaranteed. So the completion could be out of order across multiple um, non-blocking collectives. The semantic advantages why this is helpful is to enables asynchronous progression. So software pipelining, as in a moment I'll show an example. If you're familiar with the double buffering kind of concept, where when the data is being sent and received on one buffer, the computation, whereas with the blocking collectives, the processor, the CPU is idle, whereas with using a double buffering or software pipelining strategy, the compute CPU could work on the second buffer while the first buffer is being used for transferring. So it decouples the data transfer and the synchronization, because it comes out of the collective as soon as it is posted. Helps with the noise resiliency. The overlapping also allows for overlapping communicators. And there could be like multiple outstanding operations at any time with the non-blocking collectors. So one example here, as I was telling, the double buffering or software pipelining. Here, this example has this arrays, array 1 and array 2. So the ibcast is called on array 1, while the broadcast operation is using this array 1. The processor could simultaneously, parallelly, could be operating on the array 2. And once the computation is done, the wait is posted, waiting for the request for the array 1. So essentially enables communication overlap. So in order to use this non-blocking collectives, CRayMPA has optimizations, and specifically these are not on by default. So you have to use explicitly the MPH, MPSH, and MSS asynchronous progress. There's 3 variants: SC, MC, and ML. You can refer the man page for more details. But this is at a high level, it differs in how the progression is handled. So ML, for instance, is for machine learning based applications, and use the MPACH max thread safety as multiple. By default, it is funneled or single. Use that to be. We'll touch on this late in a later slide as well. And the NIC, the Aries, the interconnect that is used on CrayXC Theta, CrayXC40 Theta is Aries based interconnect, and Aries NIC has some hardware resources to process collectives. So essentially, it can process very small message collectives. For example, a small message IRreduce could use the hardware collective engine. That is, the processing is done at the hardware level, so that the software overhead could be mitigated. To use the hardware collective engine, users must link against the DMAP. So remember, we were talking about the UGNI and DMAP. So by default, MPA uses UGNI, but if you want to use the hardware collective engine, the DMAP needs to be used. And this the linking options that one needs to use are given in the slide: the LD map, etc. The progression, ampage max thread safety multiple, and the DMAP collective equal to 1. By default, it is 0. So if you want to use the hardware optimized collectives, you need to use that to 1. Okay, that is non-blocking collectives. So here the topology mapping and for the rank reordering. Uh, so while I would say the topology mapping is not that critical for a Dragonfly based topology is used in theta, it is very critical for torus based topologies, but still we found that there could be some improvements exercised by localizing the communications within nodes. So the following few slides are going to touch on the optimizations one could explore. So essentially, the mapping, the minimize the communication cost through the interconnect topology with task mapping. So this could potentially reduce the congestion. Um, so so by default, the job scheduler has at least on theta has no notion of contiguity. So the nodes that are allocated uh, for a job could be scattered across the whole topology. So the figure here shows a schematic view of the topology. So each blue circle here is a group. It's called one Dragonfly group, and there are like multiple such groups, and they're all connected by all-to-all links with global optical cables. Um, so, so let's say if you're running a 256 node job, the nodes that are allocated for that job could be scattered across potentially across all the 12 groups. So the number of groups on theta are like 12 Dragonfly groups. So by using this topology mapping, I could um, have some control over the communication topology. So the MPA processes topologies like graph and Cartesian topologies expose this in a portable way, but they are not specific to any network topology. So they're designed to be network topology agnostic. Um, with the rank reordering, by exercising this option, you can override the default mapping scheme. Um, so the default policy for AP-Run launcher is SMP style placement. You could see the placement that is used with mpitch rank reorder display. So the the environment variable that one should use for this rank reordering is mpsh rank reorder method. Um, so that would vary the rank placement to optimize communication, to maximize on-node communication between the MPA ranks. So you could use the graypat with minus GMPA option to produce a MPA rank reorder file to see what is the so the by using graypat it kind of deciphers what is the communication topology that is used by the application, and then it heuristically it could suggest you what might be a rank reordering that you could use. Now this the grid order command also could be used to see what is the um, new placement that you could use. It will generate the mapping between the ranks and uh, the topology that is given to the job. So if you have a custom rank reorder file, whatever the default is given, if you could optimize that, you could use the rank reorder method equal to 3 to and provide a new mapping file. So then the ranks will be reordered based on your suggested mapping. Or if you want the system itself to suggest a rank reordering method based on some heuristics, you could use rank reorder equal to 4, and then that will suggest you heuristically what is the better rank reordering method. So an example here, with the when you do CREPAT, it says so this is a an application. I ran CREPAT to see what is the uh, how the different rank placements are performing. So it detects what is the communication. It's a point-to-point communication with 96 by 8 read pattern. And so it also says that 52% of the total execution time is spent in MPA. So you could use these profiling tools to assess like should you use rank reordering or not. So it says that by using this, it generates a custom rank reorder file, and by using that, it says that on node the communication that is going outside the node could be reduced. So how to use the CREPAT is like the pat build minus G MPI, and once you run your application with pat build minus G MPI and run it, then the pat report it generates an output file, and you could use pat reports to generate the report such as that is shown in this slide. So So this shows how much is the time that is spent in MPA. So the 40% of the time is spent in MPA, and out of which 24% of the time is spent in MPA wait. Um, and other MPA calls that are used are all reduced, I send and I receive. And it also shows that MPA sync time. So this could be used as a hint to show potentially there is some load imbalance. And the CREPAT also shows this the kind of the binning of the MPA messages that are used, and it bins them based on the message size ranges. So for instance, here, this application, the majority of the messages are in this range of 4K to 64 KB. So this kind of detail is useful to tune some specific MPA operations. For example, the collectives and point-to-point operations. Uh, could be using different algorithms based on the message size. And by seeing this data, you could tune those knobs specific to this application. Right. So essentially, if it is a large message size, we could kind of categorize the application as bandwidth sensitive, or if it is a small message bound, it could say that it's the latency sensitive. Okay, so we talked about the non-blocking collectives, topology-aware mapping, uh, rank reordering methods, and how could CREPAT help see whether the rank reordering helps or not, as well as what is the message distributions that are used. Then now moving on, so huge pages. So the Aries NIC has some finite amount of space for address translation, and if and depending upon the size of the working set that the application uses, uh, there is a potential to leading to more falls for the TLB. So the case recommendation is to use um, huge pages. And so the linking and running with huge pages can offer significant performance, not just for MPA send and receive and collectives. Also, we have seen some performance improvements by using huge pages. And if you read the man page, they clearly say that exercising this huge pages is critical for MPA all-to-all and all-to-all V collectives. Especially this is, as I said, is critical for if the message size range is in the order of like megabytes. So how to use huge pages? So you need to link before you run your application, you need to link that with module load, create huge pages. There are different sizes that are there, 2 megabyte, um, 4 megabyte, and so on. The default page is 4K. So by using like huge page size, 8 MB, essentially the page translation uh, events are reduced. So that's the advantage with the huge pages here. And again, to run, you have to use module load huge pages. So I touched on earlier that in order to use the collective engine, you need to use Ampage use DMAP collective. Use so this collective engine has this Nick has this collective uh, progression hardware, and it has advantages to reduce the overhead, but this is primarily for small message collectives such as all reduced 4 bytes, broadcast 4 or 8 bytes, the barrier. Uh, but there are some disadvantages in the sense that by using DMAP, you're taking away the resources from the UGNI. So because the network resources are shared between the UGNI and DMAP. So that one needs to be aware of when you want to use the hardware optimized collective engine. Essentially, if you majority of your collective message size in the range of 4 byte or 8 byte all reduced. If that is what the CREPAT shows, then you could use DMAP collective engine. Then in an earlier slide, I showed how CREPAT could report the message size distribution. So that detail could be used to tune how the internode traffic. So, for example, the send receives are done. So for the send receive, the UGNI has, if you're familiar with how MPA send and receive uh, are done, it has this eager and rendezvous kind of schemes. And within eager, there are like E0, that's a mailbox based optimization, and E1. So Cray uses kind of these nomenclatures: E0, E1, R0, R1, and one could set these. The default sizes could be varied by using these environment variables that are showed here on in this slide. Could refer the MPA man MPA to see more details. In the collectives, collectives different. If you're familiar with MPA-CH, it has for an all reduced different types of collectives. For example, Bruck, uh, Rabin Safner, different types of algorithms are used, and these when to use which algorithm is kind of hard coded in the sense that it is some default numbers are set like less than 1k all to all algorithm A is used, greater than 1k algorithm B is used. Those defaults could be changed by using the environment variables such as MPA-CH altogether V short message, altogether V short message. So again here you could look at so these are only some of the things that I'm putting just as an example, but you could find more details on the man page. The MPA plus X hybrid programming optimizations. So by default, as I said earlier, it's as the single or funneled mode. But if there are like if the threads, if it is a MPA plus OpenMP or pthreads based programming model is used for the application, then in order to make the MPA calls from the different threads, that are there within a MPA process, uh, you need to use the thread multiple support. This thread multiple support is there for point-to-point collectives and the MPA RMA. So all this is supported in the default library. Cray calls this as the hard thread MPA. So users must set this following environment variables: MPACH max thread safety equal to multiple, and then um, global lock optimization is on by default. So if so that's the one that the Cray has kind of improved on what's the default MPACH as the implementation. If you use MPACH opt threshold thread sync equal to 0, then it falls back to the default pthread mutex based locking scheme. So the thread hot optimizations for MPA3 RMA it enables contention free progress and completion. This in turn enables high bandwidth and high message rate. So the different threads could be making independent progress. So a thread could flush the outstanding traffic so that the other threads can make progress. So the MCT RAM support for so the Theta has the compute nodes on Theta KNLs and has this two types of memory, MCD RAM and DDR. MCD RAM is high bandwidth memory, and so Cray MPA offers some allocation and huge space support for MCD RAM. So in order to use that, you could use MPA alloc mem or for the Windows or the MPA buffers would be allocated directly from the MCD RAM. You need to use module load Cray memkind library and build the application with that module. So the controls that are available to manage this with environment variables are for mph alloc mem affinity that specifies whether the buffer should be allocated from DDR or MCD RAM. And similar to how if you're familiar with the NUMA CTL options, it has like mandatory, preferred, or interleaved. So if you put it as mandatory, if the sufficient memory is not available from the MCD RAM, then it leads to an error. Whereas with the preferred, similar to how NUMA CTL minus P1 works, then it falls back to the DDR memory if there is no sufficient memory on the MCD RAM. The interleaved is primarily for SNC. So SNC is one mode. Theta does not use that. It uses the quad mode is the default mode for the compute node KNLs on Theta. So it could also set similar to huge pages has different sizes. Here also you could set here the different sizes allocated from the MCD RAM. Now, we discussed earlier on the topology-based optimization with rank reordering, and here with the routing-based, what are the routing schemes? So the Cray Exceed has this it's a Dragonfly-based topology. It's called like a 2D Dragonfly. So as the figure shows here, this is one group. As like it shows like 6 chassis, each chassis has like 16 nodes. So if source needs to communicate with the destination within a group, it could either take a minimal route that has like 2 hops, or it could take 4 hops that we call that as the non-minimal path. So the routing on Theta Cray XE is deterministic. It has 7 different routing modes. Like deterministic is minimal or non-minimal, or in order. And with the adaptive routing, there are 4 different flavors of adaptive routing. adaptive routing 0 that has no bias towards, essentially it has equal bias towards minimal and non-minimal. And adaptive 1 has increasing bias towards uh, minimal as the packet traverses. Cray call this as IMB routing. And by default, all the if you don't do anything uh, specifically, all-to-all and all-to-all V uses this adaptive 1 routing mode. Otherwise, the rest of the MPA traffic by default uses adaptive 0. Adaptive 0 is the default on theta. The other flavors are adaptive 2 and adaptive 3, which has weak bias towards minimal, is the adaptive 2, or adaptive 3 is the strong bias towards minimal. So if you want to use, if you want to change the default from adaptive 0 to some other routing mode, you could use these options: MPACH GNI routing mode, or for all-to-all, if you want to change the default from adaptive 1 to something else, you could use these environment variables. We have seen from our testings that for some applications that are especially communication intensive applications, the defaults are need not always be optimal. So the plot here shows that comparing the default, the AD0 and the adaptive 3, which has strong bias towards minimal routing algorithms. Clearly, the x-axis is the runtime. Clearly, the AD3, the green and red lines for the milk as well as the rank reorder optimized milk show significant, noticeable performance improvement compared to the default AD0. So I encourage people to try out these routing modes, and we'll be happy to have your feedback on whether it improves or decreases the performance. The core specialization, the compute node on Theta has 64 cores. So the operating system also is running along with the applications on this cores. The operating system daemon, the noise from that could potentially influence the application performance. So in order to avoid that, so you could use this core specialization. So you could specify with MPA the AP run minus R1. If you specify that option, then it's one hyperthread. Actually, one hyperthread is dedicated to the operating system process, so that the interference of the operating system on the application threads won't be noticed. So Cray encourages to use this AP run minus R option because you're not actually taking away because it's only using hyperthread. So you could the legal minus R8 or R1. So you could run 64 MPA processes without any problem because you're only dedicating one hyperthread for the core specialization. But you can't use like one thread for hyperthread. If you use, you're only available with like 255 threads for the application process. So this plot shows for the 8-byte all reduce on Theta with 64 processes per node using with and without core specialization on. I could see that across different node job sizes, starting from 16 nodes to 1K nodes, using core specialization improves performance. So the y-axis here is the latencies. Lower the bar, the better it is. So we essentially pointed out the different performance tuning knobs that one could exercise in optimizing performance on Cray XC Theta. As per our understanding, these are some of the key things, but there are more details are available in a man page. So here are some references.
Thank you, Sudhir.